Hello everyone, it's the Social Club. Hi, we're here. We're going to talk about Ronald Koeman first. Later on, just as a little double whammy, we're going to talk about politics and football as well. And of course, Ask the Club Live, taking your questions. But
we're not talking about Liverpool.
You know, maybe,
isn't that weird?
Maybe an Ask the
Club.
First
week.
Yeah, shut up.
Isn't that weird?
Weeks and weeks and not talking about
How can we turn our attention away from Liverpool's bad run? Let's talk about Everton.
Fake news.
And that's what
fake
Klopp,
news. Nothing wrong with Liverpool.
Klopp loves.
Liverpool are absolutely fine. Hey, to be fair, Flav and I think Sam this morning ran a title on the lines of Klopp and Koeman for the sack or something like that. Like, knobheads. Anyway, their time will come. Speaking of which, Ronald Koeman, as he lost the fans, Ped. Now we got a question in on the Ball Street Twitter from Gaz Jones EFC. Should he be sacked now, given time to sort this mess out? And your good friend, our good friend Matt Jones, wrote, sometimes it's abundantly clear there's no way back for a manager. Everton reached that stage today. A big decision needs to be made.
I certainly think this is the beginning of the end.
Really?
Do you know when you get the sense that certainly I think he's lost the fans, and not lost. I don't think he ever had the fans, like, you know, like under like a spell, like some managers do. Like your manager, where if you just say the right things, they'll all just fall for you.
Yeah.
Boom. No things like that. No, I mean, the thing about Ronald Koeman is he's never sort of like
endeared himself.
Yeah, he's never like never worn the Everton shirt and just gone, I'm Everton and all that.
It was the red Christmas tree, wasn't it, Ped?
That didn't really bother me. I'm not arsed.
Didn't bother you?
It's one of them though, isn't it? It's like when you keep someone seeing out your contract as like that's the end game.
Yeah.
Not I'm going to win you this or I'm going to build you this. Even if you don't believe it, or Koeman just doesn't help himself, and he says you know like the way he just keeps his furniture in a lock-up somewhere. Ready to go.
An open plane ticket from John Lennon Airport to leave at any point that he wants to any of the major European cities.
Yeah, I don't think he's endeared himself to any Everton fan.
It's weird, Chris, because again, you probably should pay slightly more attention to Everton than I do, just because you're your brother and what have you. But I think we should, and I'm going to compare him to Roy Hodgson, and I don't mean it in like a management quality sense or anything, but it's the way in which he talks about the club. You never get the sense from Koeman that it's like it's an us thing, like or us and we, whatever. And Hodgson was very much like that with Liverpool as well. You'd always got the sense for him that it was a job, and you know when Ped is right, we love a manager to feel like they're totally integrated into the football club. But I think every club.
That's what you kind of want, isn't it? I mean, you look at teams around the league, and Arsenal were looking over at Atletico Madrid's manager and wanting someone like that running down the touchline who looks like he gives a damn and stuff like that. And that's the difficulty with Koeman. I mean, you know, I speak to my brother about it, and I was speaking to him last night about it, and, you know, I think he slightly, maybe agrees with you, maybe disagrees, but his sense was that I don't think he's lost the fans yet. That's what Steve said anyway. And my brother's an Everton season ticket.
You might just live in the real world. You know, I don't.
You know, he said he doesn't think that he's lost the fans yet. But he said if he was to go in the international break, I don't think the fans would be arsed.
And that's essentially what I'm saying, yeah. That's exactly what's right. It's like if he came back after the international weekend and he was still at the club, I don't think anyone would be going mental.
Yeah, no one's you're not waiting with pitchforks at the Gladys
But I find that worse though, because I just don't think anyone cares.
Yeah.
Which is even worse. It's, you know, no one's rallying because everyone's just a bit meh at the moment.
I think we again, we can only talk about our personal experience in these things really, but we kind of had that at the end of Brendan Rodgers, where it was like
exactly
we were playing meh football, and it wasn't working, but it was also not so bad that you were like, well, it's definitive. This is game over. So when he did get the boot, it was this time two years ago, wasn't he? He got the boot
after the draw with
Everton, and none of us believed they'd pull the trigger. It was almost like I
was in the bar getting pissed. Didn't have a clue it was coming. And then all of a sudden,
Tom and I were walking back from because we were I was at Goodison for that game, and it was. If we'd gotten beaten, if you'd battered us, we could have gone, well, look at that, there you go, that's clear. Whereas you've got Machiri's coming out and saying the Burnley game was the only unexpected loss of the season, as though you were budgeted to lose all the games that you've lost.
What he said.
Is he wrong though?
Yes. Of course he's wrong. You don't talk about about football like that in a win-loss situation. You don't talk about it like it's facts on a spreadsheet. Yeah. You don't talk about football like that. You've still gotta create the illusion. You have to though, don't you? Yeah, football is all about smoke and mirrors, illusion. I mean, how many times have I sat here listening to you say, well, if both of you talk about the beginning of the season and you've got to believe you're going to win it. Yeah. Like, fuck do I ever believe Everton going to win a game of fucking chess or anything? Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't believe Everton.
Who would be Everton's designated chess player? No, you hang on.
Leighton Baines.
Okay, Sam.
But doesn't that back up what you're saying? I mean, if you don't go into it believing it and he's doing exactly the same thing, isn't that just he's agreeing?
No one agrees with me. No, I think the club have to create. Listen, I'm not like other fans. I'm a lot cynical, and I've seen behind the cloak, you know, the wizard's cloak and all that. Sounds wrong, doesn't it?
That's really
yeah.
Weird. What was up the
You've seen the wizard's penis?
I haven't. No, it's the Lukaku's. And he was still 2 miles away. No, I've seen what goes on behind the closed doors of a football club, and it isn't very nice. And once you've seen that, you lose that sort of illusion, but loads of fans have still got it. And when your owner's coming out going, well, we budgeted for this loss, and you're like, no, we don't. You don't do that as a football club. For me, Machedi should have just come out and gone, it's not good enough at the moment, but we have faith in the manager.
Shall I just read the vibe Machedi stuff? We're in a bad moment, which I always love as it's a very non-English expression.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It's a manners expression.
But we've played the 4 title contenders 3 away. Today, cheeky bastard. The 4.
He's not wrong, is he?
No, he's not, is he? Today was the only unexpected loss. The 4 pre-qualifying UEFA games and 2 group games on Thursdays haven't helped. There was mental and physical fatigue and 7 injuries.
Yeah, we counted the 7 injuries, and it's like an under-12 player. No, there is injuries, but there have been injuries that have been there all season.
But it comes out and says, these are early days, and Koeman is my total support. We have great fans, and they deserve better. We know the honest and objective opinions, expectations of our supporters, and we will not let them down. I don't think there's anything.
Well, the second half of that statement is fine. The first half, it isn't fine. You cannot. If you spend money and you were supposed to be closing the gap to those 4 teams that he's talking about, then they are not acceptable losses. Yes, they are in the eyes of reality. You will go into those games in the situation and you will lose them, you'll understand. But you can't come out and say things like that. You just can't, because football fans rely. Yeah. Football is built on hopes and dreams. You are literally there just telling people that their hopes and dreams are nonsense because the football club doesn't have the same hopes and dreams. Me, I'm cynical as fuck. I've seen enough to know that. I still go to every game. I'm not someone who's going to go, I know we're going to get beat, so I'm not going to go. Because there are those people out there. Yeah. Football is about creating illusions and persisting with that and saying things like that. You can't do that.
I think it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because I think, again, maybe it is peeking behind the curtain a touch or looking in the Wizard's kecks or whatever. Like, I don't know.
You said that. I
don't know.
You said that.
But the problem we've got in football is that I think about it, and it's like if he comes out and says everyone needs to relax, he's got an X number year contract. It's going to be, there's a learning process, a growing process behind what we're doing, fine. The problem is that whenever a chairman comes out and says anything, there's now this, the dreaded vote of confidence. Yeah. It's backwards, it's bizarre. Because like I say, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with saying that. Look, you know,
he's not. The thing is, for me, he's not saying Everton couldn't have gone into those games against the other top 4 challenges and win those games. He's saying, for me, and I think what you've done is you've read it the other way around. You've not focused on the one line that he wanted probably to focus on, which is the Burnley result is unexpected. I expect Everton to beat Burnley. The other guys, it could go either way, is maybe what he was saying.
You don't go,
than him going,
well, there's 12 points in the bank, no problem.
So maybe
I expected him.
Maybe things would change at Everton if an owner did say that, though.
Well, your heads would all fall off if I
don't expect
him
to say he wins them, but I just think by saying those things, you're smashing your own illusion. And it's not just what he said. It's that statement was released on notes.
Yeah, that's weird.
To Jim White again.
Yeah, well, he's got a habit of that now.
But this is what you tell Jim White the good news. You don't tell him the bad news.
Yeah.
because you don't want the bad news going national.
Maybe Jim White shouldn't have put it.
You go to Jim White, we're signing this plane, we're signing that plane, we're building a stadium. That's who you tell Jim White.
Yeah.
You tell that, so you put that on a little thing on the Everton website.
Yeah.
That's an Everton statement. That's not a statement for you.
No, that's an interesting.
That's not a statement for the national press. That's a statement for Everton fans.
But
unless there's some kind of an agenda there.
Okay, exactly. Can I just play devil's advocate on that? Because if that comes out from the club media, you're like, oh, it's all bullshit spin. Whereas, is it not more a more legitimate backing of the manager for it to go roundabout?
I think
it's not
a legitimate backing of the manager is just for him to stand up in front of a camera and say something.
Yeah.
But then he'd have to reveal himself.
Yeah.
Because he is literally... he's got different voices, hasn't he? You know, when he rang up Jim White on transfer deadline day, he was like, yes, we will try and sign all the players next year. I was born in the darkness. You really live there. I'm Gotham's reckoning. Jim White, my arch nemesis. I have to tell you everything. You control my mind.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's just shit.
But I overrated because you lads were filming some of Toffee TV's content before, and I heard Barry say the words, if we'd been putting in a great performance, if we'd been dominating the matches and we played really well, I wouldn't be as arsed about not winning or dropping points or whatever. But you're not putting the performances in, and you're not getting results at the same time. It's
been absolutely rubbish. And even when we won last week against Bournemouth, we were rubbish for 70 minutes. Just the Prince come off the bench and turn things round. Yesterday against
the Prince turned into a poor.
No, he wasn't very good yesterday, but you can't really put the blame on him. Turned to a frog. No, we've been really rubbish, and it's not that we're not winning games. Just that we haven't got a clue how to win games.
Yeah.
You watch us and you're just like, why did he buy him? 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 Why did he buy him?
Our Steve's saying that he's like a kid at Christmas who wants to play with all of his toys. Do you think that's a fair thing to say? Like he's got all these new players and he wants to play them, but he hasn't got a system. Like there was no grand plan for how this team was going to perform with these players.
Exactly, that's my biggest problem. When the summer I thought we've got a good manager. We've finally got money. We've got a strategy. He's buying all these players, and it's going to be like that. They're all going to go, and there's no idea. And that's the biggest problem for me. There's no idea of where they're going to play and how they're going to. And what's actually happening is it's not just players playing, square pegs round holes to accommodate another player. They're all square pegs round holes. So every player seems to be playing out of position to accommodate another player who's out of position. It's fucking mad.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, Rooney, you're playing up front or you're playing in the number one place and other people are going to have to work around you, it's not like that. It's like, well, Rooney, you're slightly out of position, and Sigurdsson, you're slightly out of position, and whoever's playing, and we're not playing with any wingers.
Yeah.
It's mad. It's just like, it's like he's got all those toys in a black bag and just gone like that, and where they've fallen is where they're playing.
The only other thing that I thought was quite interesting, and I don't know how true this was, because again I've mentioned it briefly to Baz before. There was this talk that he's throwing Steve Walsh under the bus, or he's blaming the board for not buying Giroud.
A striker, yeah,
There's definitely something going on behind the scenes. We had someone with us before who told us that they don't get on, and again, I've heard these rumours before that they don't get on very well. There's a definite friction. I don't know. That can be sorted out. Either one of them has to go, but Walsh is the man who's supposed to be underpinning it all, so that if the manager leaves, it all just continues nicely. So how can you get rid of him without it all falling down? Yeah. So Walsh has been given a job to do, but you don't know what job he's been given to do. Has he been told, I need you to sign a striker, a defender, or has he been told, I need you to sign Giroud, I need you to sign this player? It's who knows what's going on. So I don't know. It's all a big mess. And then, but Koeman worked under this system at Southampton as well.
Yeah.
With someone picking the players and him playing them. So can you just throw that person under the bus? It sounds like to me Koeman's just been a massive shithouse at the moment and looking for other people to blame. Sometimes you just gotta own the problems and you get more respect for that.
Yeah. I mean, I know you framed the show around like he's lost the fans and stuff, but do you think that he might have lost the dressing room with the Morales stuff, with the Barkley stuff?
Yeah. There's been so many people that he's fallen out with.
Yeah.
Like the latest one appears to be Ademola Lookman, who's getting linked with going to Spurs, a team who were well better than us.
Yeah.
So that's weird on its own. So you're thinking it's situations where you go, well...
Jags as well was the other one, wasn't it?
Well, Jags was more last season, where he basically told me he could leave, and then he ended up back in the team. But you just feel like it's like he falls out with these players, and then these players either prove him wrong, or as a fan you go, oh, that player's been a knobhead, and then you start going, is he being a knobhead?
Is every one of our players a knobhead?
Because didn't he have this at Valencia?
Well, I think it ended very quickly at Valencia because of stuff like this, and I think it was one of them where fans like in Spain, they just don't have no.
It must be hard though, because clearly with the money, there was massive revamp that needed to happen to Everton's squad.
It did, yeah.
And it did. And you've spent a lot of money, you've brought a lot of players in. I think there's a lot to ask for it to be, you know what I mean, to be second nature to these players.
But that's where I go back to what I was saying about an idea of what's playing, because I watch the players and I don't think they know. So I take a player like Sigurdsson, right? Sigurdsson, what is he? He's like 28. He's in the peak of his career. He was playing fantastically at Swansea. The team seemed to be built around him. He had a target man, which helped him. And he brought him into the team. And it's just like, where am I playing? Well, can you play on the left today? And then maybe drift inside. Whereas, if you buy a player for 45 million, I want the team built around that player. Yeah. I want the team. Sigurdsson's our main man. Not Rooney, not Klassen or whatever. Sigurdsson's our main man. And we worked to we all go to beat of his drum and everything goes through. And no, you play on the left for me. What's going on?
Yeah.
What is going on at the football club? And as I say, it's like every player is playing slightly out of position. And because of that, everyone's playing shit. It should have been a system. The players all playing the system. And the best players playing the system. And if people's noses put out of joint, be it.
That's the difficulty, isn't it, when you do have a director of football or you have someone else picking the transfers, because I've seen loads of examples over the years where it's worked, and I've seen loads of examples equally where it hasn't. If the manager and the director of football aren't on the same wavelength, it ain't ever going to work.
I mean, it's a great example because I think it's a fine and noble idea, and it's something the English clubs needs to get right, I think, moving forward. But as a good example of it and how it can go wrong, it's all well and good. You might agree at the start of the summer, you sit down and you go, right, we're going to play 4-2-3-1. Go and get me the players for it. And they go and get it. Well, you're the guy who's responsible. You're the manager, the guy who's putting the teams out. And you might think, shit, this isn't working. I need to change the formation. I'm going to move to a 4-3-3, say. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I haven't got the players to play this formation. This guy's like, well, no, we've agreed on this. There's got to be some more joined up.
I think also it's the order of how you buy them. If a centre-forward, which was so pinnacle to the way he wanted to play, he wanted Giroud, and it never happened. I mean, it was very close, Giroud. It was literally a family decision. His wife didn't, apparently his wife, but it was almost a done deal. It was not just pie in the sky. And then, but if you don't get him, then you've got to go and get the second one or the third one. Yeah. And if you don't get him, then maybe you've got to turn around and go, well, if we're not getting him, then we need to readdress. What's the point in bringing Sigurdsson in? What's the point in spending 45 million? Or if you're going to bring them in, tell them they've got 2 weeks to give you the decision.
And I think the hard thing with Koeman in charge maybe is that he's not a guy who's going to look. He's necessarily going to want to be there for 5 years. Now, look, if he guides it up, he might want it, but he might, that might change, of course. But it's an easier sell if you go, well, listen, it's going to be a tough season this year. We're going to get a load of these players bedded in, but next summer we're going to buy the 4 bits and pieces that we need, and then look forward next year. Now, it's hard as a football fan to hear that. No one wants to hear that a year of their life is going to be spent being largely underwhelming. Again, it goes back to the illusion. Lie to people, tell them it's going to be great. And then if it doesn't fall short, you can buy into the larger plan. But I think it's hard to do that with Ronald.
Can I ask a question? What order were they brought in? What order was Walsh brought in? Was Koeman brought in first? Was Walsh brought in second?
Koeman was brought in first, but that Walsh was always the plan of getting both of them in, I think, and Walsh took longer because of getting them out of Leicester. Leicester were very, very reluctant, and it's the first summer it never really worked because Walsh came in. Walsh has restructured everything because he brings players in at every level. Yeah. He's not just the first team. And the way our under-23s works is unbelievable. Our under-23 spends more money than some of the Premier League teams did. Yeah. That's how much money they spent. So it's a big plan. It's a big project. So I don't see Steve Walsh going anywhere.
It sounds very much like Koeman.
But going back to what you've just said, like you look at what your team's doing at the moment. You look at Klopp. You in your head, you're thinking, well, Klopp has got till eternity almost to get this right, because doesn't feel like there's a ticking clock, because he hasn't put any time limits on how long. For years,
Klopp, the fact he signed someone for next year tells you.
But Klopp,
he's comfortable where
you feel
he
like
is.
Klopp's in for the full run.
Yeah.
Now maybe he's not. Maybe you don't know. Yeah. But our manager has effectively said that in the summer of 2019, he's leaving the club. He said that himself. 3-year contract. He's basically said, I'm leaving at the end of my contract. He wants the Barcelona job. It's all stepping stones. I don't think he'll ever get it unless you get another summer like they did this summer, where it was almost like a rebound. But he's effectively said that a year next summer he's leaving the club. How can you plan for anything doing that?
No,
so
it is. So we'll have to see how it unfolds. Everton fans watching, what's your take on it? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Of course, if you want to get the latest on all this stuff and anything Everton related, go and subscribe to Toffee TV. If you're watching this, click the icon on the screen. Bit of product placement there as well for you this week. I'm
not being biased, but that's a fucking amazing kit.
That is an
amazing kit. Available in all good retail. That's not really, is it? Some lad on
it's available.
Some lad on eBay's doing them. Let me know.
It's available. Tweet at Ped7. Subscribe to the Ball Street channel as well. And if you want to watch more Social Club, click the link. Go through, watch it. We're going to be doing politics and football. Cheers.